Hello everybody and welcome to another short video for our class, Introduction to Philosophy 1301 here at St. Philip's College. This is the online version of the class for the summer one semester, and it is Tuesday, the 18th of June, 2019. And we're rushing through a 5-week course. This is the beginning of week 2, and we're trying to get into a rhythm where we have assignments due Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday. Now, yesterday and today, I was going through the essays from the first assignment, which was due Sunday night. You're busy reading the next chapter about epistemology, about knowledge, and looking ahead to our next discussion question, and writing a short essay that you will then drop into that discussion. And after you do that, go through and read a couple of your classmates, make some comments on theirs, and engage into the discussion. So, again, most people have got this. I've been going through the essays; look great. People are figuring this out. I think the biggest issue is people just had to get their books. So, anyway, now that we've got our books, we're reading our chapters, answering a question, reading a chapter, answering the question. That means that tomorrow, Wednesday the 19th at midnight, is the next assignment. And that's got to do with epistemology. The questions, again, right out of the back of our chapter in our book about philosophy by Wolf. And in this chapter, he's talking about epistemology, or about knowledge and how we know what we know. Now, to help us sort through some of these key concepts, because it's a long chapter, there's a lot in there. But the key thing we're trying to focus on is epistemology. Now, I've done a couple things to help with that. Number one, there's a great short video by the guys at Crash Course on YouTube. It's funny, it's well done. And so what I did was I added that to the playlist on our YouTube channel. I also put it into the module under week number 2, the theory of knowledge. I also, in that same module on our Canvas page, added a one-page document about epistemology. And what you're going to see is, I just want to spend a minute or two talking about it, because I think it'll help you answer the question or questions that we have coming up for tomorrow. So number one, it makes a divide between knowledge and faith. And it says, look, over here is people that have faith, and they're talking about belief in God and their particular religious practice. But the thing you have to remember about people saying that they believe in God is that the nature of faith is that they're not claiming to have some scientific experiment that proves the existence of God. In fact, if you had that, you wouldn't need faith. You'd have proof. But see, that's the thing about faith. It's a choice to live in a certain way and to hold certain beliefs beyond scientific proof. So that kind of gets its own category on our little chart there, because they're not really making claims about knowledge and epistemology. They're saying we're believers, we're people of faith, and that's its own thing. So then, though, we get you'll see 2 columns. And one, it just says conformity with the physical world and nonconformity with the. And again, what that means is we want to have in our heads a good reflection of the way things really are out there. And one of the examples that I use is that, look, man, I can draw you a quick map of the state of Texas with a line going straight across the middle of it, from Beaumont, Houston, San Antonio, and all the way to El Paso. And that's just a pretty simple, it's the outline of the state and a line drawn through the middle of it. Now, if you're in San Antonio and I say, hey, drive down Walters here, hook a left on I-10, go west, you'll hit El Paso. That's all the directions you need. Now, it's going to take you a while. It's not exactly around the corner. But eventually, you would get to El Paso. So the only map you need is, a box with a line through it. So get on it and stay on it. But that's not a very good accurate map. I mean, it's not a detailed map. It might be functional, but now, of course, what do people do? They got their phones. You whip out the phone. You got a map of Texas here, and of course, not just a map of Texas. It's my God, it's Google Maps where you can zoom in and see pictures of every foot of it. You can drive it on your phone just by clicking your whole way to El Paso. Again, it might take you a while. But the point is simply that that's a great detail map. It'd have every mile marker, every twist and turn, every city, every gas station. And that's a better representation of the way things really are. Both are just maps. Maps are just symbols. They represent the reality of the real road, the real I-10 that runs all the way out there. And we want to have in our head knowledge that's a good, accurate reflection of the way things really are. Now, I'd mentioned in a previous video a young lady I had in class who said, she asserted in class that when we got to the age of the earth, that the earth was only 6,000 years old. And I said, well, why do you say that? Where does that come from? And she said, well, it's part of my faith tradition. I said, okay. So you kind of believe this because it's part of this big package of beliefs. And she said, yeah. I said, now, there's a scientific explanation which says it's a lot older than that. It's 4.5 billion years old. She says, oh, no, I know that. And I know that they're in conflict. But I'm just going to choose to go with my faith on this. And I said, okay. So you have the knowledge, but if you have to pick somehow, you're going to go with 6,000 years. She said, yeah. All right. Now, she knows the difference between belief and knowledge. She knows the foundation of that. So my thing was, okay, I wasn't going to press her on it. I wasn't going to yell at her. I did want to make sure that the class knew. I didn't want people to walk out of there going, I really learned something interesting today in Professor Hill's class that Earth's only 6,000 years old. I'm like, no. I said, guys, look, just so we're all on the same page, the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. And we're going to talk about how and why we know that, which is a great story. It's a scientific story which involves incredible efforts to determine that. Anyway, the point here is that we're going to have different categories of knowledge that either reflects that physical world or doesn't. That's different than faith. That's its own thing.
Connect to the public Wi-Fi network. You may need to update your connection. Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app.
Apparently, Alexa wants to get in here and start teaching you. Sorry about that. Anyway, look.
I can't connect to the public Wi-Fi network.
Yeah, we get it. Okay, sorry. Had to pull the plug on her. All right, so it turns out that you're going to see in this chart these two columns, and one is about things we know. Certain knowledge, scientific knowledge, informed knowledge, absolute preference. These are things we know, and we're going to talk about what they are, what the difference is, and give some examples of that. Another category of things that don't conform with the way things really are, meaning this is bad information, like mistaken knowledge, or just ignorance, which means not having any knowledge at all. And again, I'm going to give you some examples of that. We're going to walk through some of these today and some of these tomorrow. And the last thing is about conspiracy theories, which are a unique thing in the world in that they're both people that are making them and selling them, and then people that kind of get taken in by them. They're kind of the victims of conspiracy theories. There's all kinds of reasons why people begin to spin them, which is bizarre. But I'll also put a link on our Canvas website in that module, which is a link to the Flat Earth Society. It's a fascinating group. Wait till you see the site. The site's extraordinary. And there's also a really good Netflix documentary about the Flat Earth Society right now that's out. I'll put a link to that in there as well, because that would be really helpful for you to see. Dang, that's a deeply disturbing documentary. But the point is, those are our two big categories. I'm going to walk through them tomorrow. I've been talking long enough. I'll walk through them tomorrow But in the meantime, check out the links, the epistemology document, the crash course video, which is quite good, and begin thinking as you're working your way through your chapter about epistemology, be thinking about that discussion question and formulating your response and your answer to that. That's a lot, I know, but that's the nature of summer classes. So if you got any questions, let me know. In the meantime, take care. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.